The candles flickered across the polished dining table, throwing shadows on the fine china and silverware. The smell of roast turkey and cinnamon baked into the air, but beneath it there was tension, an invisible weight pressing down on every laugh, every forced toast. I sat back in my chair, wine glass in hand, letting the warmth of the merlot spread slowly as I observed my family. Dad leaned back, a satisfied smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. "We're finally selling the lake house," he declared. His voice had the practiced finality of someone who believed they were in control. "And you're not getting a dime." A laugh erupted from my brother. "Good. You never deserved it anyway." He leaned back in his chair, triumphant, basking in the casual cruelty he seemed to take for granted. The others chuckled or nodded in agreement. The familiar pattern, the underestimation, the small jabs, the assumption that I would quietly accept it, played out perfectly. I sipped my wine, slowly, deliberately. In that silence, years of memory unfolded, not as anger but as clarity. The lake house had always been a symbol, not just of wealth, but of family hierarchy. Dad had defined it as a reward for the deserving children, and my brother had long assumed he fit that mold. Me. I was the quiet one, the overlooked, the assumed powerless. But I wasn't powerless. Not even close. I felt the warmth of the wine as I let it settle, my gaze steady on Dad. He was grinning, certain of his own cleverness in assigning the sale to Silverpine Ventures. He didn't know. None of them did. "I am Silverpine Ventures," I said, letting the words fall slowly, deliberately into the space between us. Time paused. I could feel the air shift, thick and immediate. Dad's smile faltered. My brother's laughter froze mid-breath. The room, full of casual confidence and holiday cheer, held its collective breath, eyes widened. Mouths opened slightly. Silence stretched. And in that silence, the entire power dynamic of the evening pivoted. My brother's jaw tightened, his victory evaporating as quickly as it had arrived. Dad's eyes narrowed, a flicker of recognition mixed with disbelief passing across his face. This was not the quiet, powerless child he thought he had been addressing. This was authority, tempered by patience, by strategy, by years of careful planning. I did not raise my voice. I did not gloat. I simply sat, wine glass still in hand, letting the gravity of the revelation settle into every corner of the room. The others shifted uncomfortably. Whispers began tentative, as if testing reality. They had underestimated me, as they always had, and now the truth was undeniable. I had been holding the leverage all along quietly, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Dad's smile returned, smaller, more controlled, his confidence recalibrating. "Well," he said, voice slightly subdued, "I suppose congratulations are in order." I allowed a small nod. That was all. No need for triumph, no need for satisfaction beyond the knowledge that the room had changed in that instant. The recognition, though understated, was enough. The dinner continued, but the energy had shifted. Conversation was cautious now. Every glance, every tone carried new awareness. I observed, noting how subtle fear, awe, and recalibration mingled in the faces around me. By the time dessert arrived, I felt a quiet satisfaction, not from victory over them, but from the affirmation of my own patience and competence. The narrative of my life had been underestimated, and for years they had believed it to be static. Now, it was undeniable. I sipped my wine again, watching my father carefully choose his words, my brother avoid eye contact, the cousins exchange small, uncertain looks. The room was still, but it was a different stillness than before, one where the quiet power I held radiated without spectacle. Outside, snow began to fall, soft and silent, blanketing the world in a muted white. Inside, the family's Christmas cheer had grown fragile, replaced by the subtle hum of recalibration. They would remember tonight, not for gifts, for laughter, or for old traditions, but for the quiet moment when authority shifted, calm, controlled, and undeniably real. I set my wine glass down, the only movement in the room that felt deliberate. My eyes met Dad's one last time before looking elsewhere. There was no triumph, no exultation, just quiet certainty. The lake house would sell. Silverpine Ventures would receive it. And I had already won, not by confrontation, not by drama, but by patience, restraint, and the inevitability of the truth finally being revealed. Christmas carried on, but nothing was the same. The air in the room had changed, the hierarchy rewritten in a single, deliberate moment. I left the table last, stepping into the night air with the quiet satisfaction of someone who knew their worth, who had been underestimated and who now finally held undeniable leverage.